Okay, so I followed a standard revision strategy and study strategy which I followed in my CA. That is, after viewing your lectures, for example, for first domain, I again went through all the notes quickly and then practiced the QA just after doing the classes for one domain. So that's how I go about it. First, go study your classes, go through the classes, then revise the notes again, and then perform all the questions in the QAs. So this is how I go through all the domains, and after going through all the domains this way, again I went through the QAs and then I crossed the questions which are easy for me, and in the last vision I just focused on the questions which were difficult and which I was not able to correctly answer in the first go. So that's the standard approach I followed. In my case, I spent 8 or 9 months just because there were some hurdles like the peak audit season. Sometimes I have to go out on the weekends, and weekdays are anyway tough to focus on studies. So if anyone can focus for 4 or 5 months just on these exams along with the office and don't do anything else, I think one can do it in 4 or 5 months. Yeah.
Hello everyone, welcome to CISA-This-Much. This is Aaditya, and today we have with us Udit, who has recently qualified CISA in the first attempt. And before we ask any questions to him, let me mention it very clearly. He scored 708, which is, very, very, very difficult to get that, and it's an amazing score. I have mentioned this several times in a lot of videos. Even crossing 600, it by itself, it's something really amazing, really good. And but crossing 700 mark, that's unbelievable, and that's something which shows how much efforts he has. Before I ask you a question. So Hatish, congratulations once again for not just clearing the exam, but passing, and that too with this top ranker score. So how does it feel, and were you expecting this, when you were giving the exam?
All right. Thank you so much, Aditya, and thank you for inviting me for this session. And yeah, glad to get this particular score. Yeah, I'm not sure I was expecting that much score, but when I was clicking on that submit button, I was pretty much confident that I'll pass the exam. And
Got it, got it. Thank you. And we have some questions here, but before that, can
yeah.
you please introduce yourself, your background, and uh, and what made you choose, like, let's go for CISA certification, because there are a lot of certifications in the market, right? And but why did you choose CISA? So we just want to know about your background.
Okay, so I'm a qualified chartered accountant. I cleared my CA in 2020, and after that, most of my experience is in risk, and especially IT risk, and then internal auditing, process restructuring, etc. Right now, I'm working with American Express as a risk analyst only. So, as a part of our daily testing, as we know, most of the processes now are automated. So many of the controls which we used to test are IT automated controls, and going forward also our focus will be on IT general controls as well. So this is something which is directly linked, and we covered as part of our CISA syllabus, because the data flow, everything is covered through information systems audit. So even before the CISA, there were things which we used to perform, which we learned in CISA, in fact. But now, because I have a clarity on the concepts which we were using earlier, it will definitely help me to adapt and perform it in a better way in my day-to-day audit practices within American Express.
Correct. Yeah. All right. Thank you for that detailed introduction. So, but I have one question here. So, you mentioned that you cleared CA, during the lockdown year, 2020. So,
Yes.
did you have interest in this field before qualifying your CA? And did you have this thing, because there are a lot of options, for CA qualified holders and CA freshers, and even if a person is not a CA qualified, but if he is semi qualified also, they have a lot of options. They can enter into tax, their accounts, finance, audit. So did you have the background, did you have like did you had knowledge before entering in this field, like these are all things that will be expected from me. I have interest in this field. This field will be having a lot of demand in the future, because I remember, like if we go like almost like decade back, uh, I used to not see a lot of job opportunities for CISA holders the way we have right now. The market has changed altogether. I know a lot of people as a CA. They never knew what exactly do they have to do in under IT audits. The forget about knowing IT audits. They didn't even know that they can make career here. There is something known as CISA. We can do something, but right now the market has changed completely. But to ask you something, like since you cleared the exam 5 years back, C or C exam, that time were you aware, like this role will be having a lot of demand in the future? Let me take this risk, getting here in this field, because again, you thought of clearing this exam, CISA, uh, almost like after 5 years of you being so as far as what I understand, that you have experience of more than 4 to 5 years now
Yes.
into this field, right? So
Yes.
I just want to know, like I mean, what was your thought that point of time?
Sure, sure. And you rightly mentioned that the market has definitely changed in last 4 to 5 years, because before qualifying also I used to practice in internal auditing field in EY itself. So there were at that time the technology audit or the IT audit, or the level of testing we do now was not at that this much scale. But yeah, considering the evolvement of the inclusion of the IT systems, the data flow and everything, even the approval and everything is now automated. So yeah, definitely the things have changed in last 3 to 4 years. At the time of CA, no, I will be honest that I did not have any such plan to pursue further in this IT audit space. Definitely in internal audit I had interest, but considering the involvement of IT now in every aspect of testing we do and every process that we study, so I think it was very much important for us. And I will be honest that in fact our organization also, it's everyone motivates us to pursue such further studies, and CISA was in our list. And even in fact in my team, uh, everyone, even my other colleagues are planning to pursue it. My manager is also a CISA. So this is something that is directly because related to our job, and is something that I think every job is skill based now. So if we evolve, if we learn new skills, it will definitely help us in a job.
All right. So, do they ask you that now you are in this field since past 4 5 years, more than that? Please go and write this exam. Like, is there a kind of requirement from the employer, or people
Hmm.
do this because it's creating value for them? Again, I know that different people I have interviewed. Some people told me no, they had this requirement from the team, they had this requirement from the department head to pursue something here, and especially when you work for the clients, lot of times the client asks you that we want IT auditors to be having, they must be a certified holder. So was that kind of requirement, or is it like no, this is creating value for others, let's do this, because again, when you do this certification, when anyone is investing their time, their money, their efforts here, they expect something out of it, right? Like maybe in terms of increasing in a pay scale, maybe in terms of getting more opportunities, maybe in terms of getting more value, more this is something people look for, right? So otherwise, why would someone invest their time and hard work and efforts here? So what do you think, like this created value for you, for your team?
Sure. So it was not a mandated requirement, I would say, but yeah, as I mentioned, it definitely creates value in our day-to-day activities. And whenever I am pursuing further opportunities that can be within the same organization and outside, so it will definitely help me. And I can guarantee that, for example, there are small things which we learn in the CISA certificate during our study for CISA certification, which directly applies to our working. So that's how we the value is created. So yeah.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now again, let's go back to your score. So, all right. So, uh, okay, you mentioned that, as such you were not expecting, but yeah, you felt that, okay, I have given a lot of right answers and I expect good marks, but I don't know whether it will be 600 or 700, something like that. But uh, how was the overall paper like? Did you feel there were questions which were out of box? Did you feel there were some questions which was actually, because as far as what I know, since I am, doing this analysis since almost now 5 plus years, what kind of questions and how the exam questions are said, I know one thing, that questions will never be fully easy. Questions will never be fully hard. The
Yes.
all the question paper will be, mix of easy level questions. There will be medium level questions, difficult level questions. There will be few questions wherein, as far as I know, I remember even during my exam time, when I gave my exam in the year 2018, that time I also faced few questions wherein I was completely blank. I didn't know what the question is asking about. So did you find there were mix of all sort of questions? Because one thing is very clear, if you have got 700 plus, it means that you have even answered those out of box questions also right, which has, made that algorithm to, say that, okay, now this guy, he is not an ordinary student. He needs a scale score of, maybe 650 plus or 700 plus, and that's how, you ended up getting 708. So I just want to know about, about your exam question set.
Sure, sure. So definitely, I would not say it's an easy exam. There were a few of the questions which were difficult, but as I mentioned, the all the thanks to my the set of questions which I performed before the exam, especially in last 1 week, because the volume of question was I covered all the mock tests, and I crossed questions which are easy for me, and then I focused on the ones which were only difficult. So because at the time of exam I just revised the difficult questions a day back or 2 days back, so I can relate to the questions which were even difficult, because there were similar questions which I performed just the last week before the exams. So that's the edge, I think, the particular edge which I got during the exams. There were few questions where I have to just think of the question, read the question two or three times, go through the options 3 or 4 times, which were out of the box questions. But because I, with a calm mind, I guess I go through the question 2 or 3 times. I thought of all the options, whether it should be right or not. So that's how I think I was able to crack few of the out of the box questions even. And the other questions which were, I would not say that much difficult, were easier for me to crack during the exam time. Yeah.
Okay. And how much time it took for you to, clear this exam? Right from the date you thought, okay, let me seriously start studying for this exam. Now in your case, you had advantage that you already had this background of IT audit, so you knew that, what is expected out of you from this exam. So that was an advantage for you. However, since you work for Big Four, I can understand you must be having a lot of work pressure. You must be okay. I know that, people from Big Four, they have a lot of work life balance issues. So how much time it took for you, and what was the journey?
Okay, so the quantity of time I took was, I would say, more than required for this particular exam, because I took 8 to 9 months. I started from your free domain 2 classes, from which I developed the interest. Then I purchased those classes, but there were phases, as you mentioned, due to work pressure, that for complete 1 or 2 months there was audit deadlines that we have to face, and at that time I completely got down from the studies. I didn't completely have time to study for CISA. So that were the, I would say, the roadblocks during my journey, because those 1 or 2 months you have to start again after those the break of 1 or 2 months. So if you can just keep your pace up for 3 4 months, I think you can do it in 4 or 5 months, but you have to keep a pace and just focus on your weekends, don't do anything else. So that's how you can go about it. But yeah, in my case, I spent 8 or 9 months just because there were some hurdles, like the peak audit season. Sometimes I have to go out on the weekends, and weekdays are anyway tough to focus on studies. So if anyone can focus for 4 or 5 months just on these exams along with the office, and don't do anything else, I think one can do it in 4 or 5 months. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So that's something very good point. You have mentioned that it all depends on, but again, as I've said, as you yourself have mentioned that you cannot have all the weeks, less work pressure. And it's not
Yeah,
just work pressure. You have your own personal other
exactly.
responsibilities. You have your family life, and so yeah. I mean, sometimes you are able to, because now this is you have a full fledged job, and you're trying to do something additional, apart
Yeah,
from your job, full time job. So it's like even during weekdays also, if you have to study, you cannot decide, okay, let me give 5 6 hours. That's not possible. At the max,
exactly.
at the max we'll be doing 1 2 hours, right? Yeah. So also, I would like to ask you about your revision strategies. Now, since there are a lot of domains, there are some domains which are too vast,
Mhm.
like domain number 5. It's very vast. There were so many amendments. Revision, it is always, it is not a simple task for anyone, especially now. You're not supposed to only revise the concepts, you're also supposed to revise question answers, right? so
Right.
so what was your revision strategy?
Okay, so I followed a standard revision strategy and study strategy which I followed in my CA. That is, after viewing your lectures, for example, for first domain, I again went through all the notes quickly and then practiced the QA just after doing the classes for one domain. So that's how I go about it. First, go study your classes, go through the classes, then revise the notes again, and then perform all the questions in the QAs. So this is how I go through all the domains, and after going through all the domains this way, again I went through the QAs and then I crossed the questions which are easy for me, and in the last revision I just focused on the questions which were difficult and which I was not able to correctly answer in the first go. So that's the standard approach I followed.
How was your last week? So since you mentioned that towards the end you was just focusing on the ones where you're lacking, the ones where you need more revision. Were you on leave from your office? Again, this is a question where I mean, I as a trainer, I advise people to take at least 7 to 10 days of leave from their office, just before the exam, because those 7 days, that works like a magic, because in those 7 days you'll not be having any work but just study for 12 hours from morning till night. So did you also took holidays before the exam? What was the schedule in those last 7 to 10 days?
Okay, so I had scheduled my exam for a Monday, and I took leaves from Wednesday. So I have 5 dedicated days to study. And you rightly mentioned I did study for 10 to 12 hours those in those 5 days. Covered all the maximum questions that I can, all the mock tests, all the mini pocket tests. Mini pocket tests were are also very useful. I remember a few of the questions are covered from mini pocket tests as well, along with the mock test definitely. So yeah, I followed this approach only for those 5 days. I think that's how I planned it, that I can keep my pace for 5 dedicated days. So I think those will be enough for me if I can keep up the pace. So and I was I was able to manage it that way at the end. Yeah.
Got it. And let me tell this, to everyone that your score is a rank holder score. It is eligible for getting that recognition. You normally will receive a mail from the local chapter. They take some time. However, they release that data, and whichever local chapter you are registered, at, so you can expect a mail, because this score deserves to get that recognition of a rank holder. And again, that will also help you in your CV also, where you can mention that, yeah, you are a rank holder from this particular area, and you have been awarded with that. So again, congratulations for that. And uh, coming to one more question about the amendments part, did you got like a lot of did you see a lot of questions in the exam from the mock? Did you see a lot of questions from the, not from the mock but from the amendments? That was my question. And also, did you find revising the amendment parts, because there were so many amendments in domain number 5? How did you approach those amendments? A lot of people who have given the interview told me that for them, domain 5 amendments were like domain number 6. They were like, it is so vast that we thought, okay, it's not domain 5, it's a part of domain number 6. And that's how they were able to do it, because and there were some amendments, it was like, it was a half page amendment. However, to understand that half page amendment, you need to have the background. Otherwise it doesn't make any sense at all, just blindly reading things and expecting the question will come word to word. And even if the I understand there are some domains like domain number 5 where they cannot ask you technical level questions. However, if you understand the amendments really well, they cannot play with you, in the exam hall, because
Right.
regardless of whichever type of question they will ask, you'll be able to answer, because now you know the foundation, now you know the background, what's the question is trying to ask. So how many questions you felt that they were from amendments?
Okay, so I'm not sure how many questions were from the amendments, because you rightly mentioned, if I have the clarity of the concepts from the amendments, it gets very easy. For example, from encryption, if you have the understanding of what homomorphic encryption is, it's very easy for you to just read that again and revise it very quickly. And I don't think there were a vast number of questions from the amendments. There were definitely 3-4 questions. For example, from encryption, definitely there were few questions, but again, those were not that difficult if you have the clear understanding of the concept. And for among the domain 5 amendments also, if you see, there are 10-12 major topics, and if you have the understanding of the concepts behind the every topic, it's very easy for you to quickly revise all those amendments in one go.
Got it. All right. Any last piece of advice you would like to give to the future CISA aspirants who are watching your session?
Okay, so the only advices which I lacked was honestly to keep up the pace during the time of study, because once you decided that you have to give this course, there should be no should not be any other option. We have to give it, and if you have to give it, you should keep up the pace and just give it in for 4 or 5 months. Just keep a date in your mind, or keep a month in your mind, and if there is no such peak season in between, you will be able to crack it very easily. If definitely they will follow your course and mock tests, practice tests, and everything.
All right. Thank you so much once again, for joining and for sharing your experience with everyone. I'm sure that your experience will inspire a lot of people. And again, huge congratulations for getting 708, and we wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you so much, Aditya, and thank you for all the support during my study. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.